Dave, I suppose it was a loss, but in the scheme of things, it's not really too affected by the result, I'm guessing, the Crows?
Oh, look, it was disappointing to not get the result in the end, but I guess throughout the night we played a brand of footy that we're trying to play. Obviously the start wasn't ideal, and probably the last 10 minutes a few things went astray, but apart from that we played some decent footy. Disappointing not to get the result, but we move on pretty quick to this week. Pretty good to arrest the momentum when you had to, though. I suppose if there was going to be a test from the evening, they had a bit of a run on and you were able to turn things around pretty well. Yeah, definitely. As I said, the first sort of 15 minutes wasn't at the level that we knew we had to play at, and then really positive that we're able to bounce back from that mid-quarter and then fight our way back into the game and get ourselves into a really good position. In the last quarter, and then not be able to finish up was a bit disappointing. Well, the second quarter was sort of a bit of an example to the rest of the league that when you guys are on, you can really torch other sides. Yeah, I guess if we know within ourselves, if we get the fundamentals of the game right, then everything else tends to flow from that. Our ball movement tends to flow, but it does start with the contest and winning our share. And in the first 15 minutes, we weren't able to do that, and we saw what happens when that occurs. We're not able to get our game going, and but the positive was we were able to resurrect it. We obviously knew out in the ground that things weren't going the way we wanted to, so particularly from our leaders to be able to I guess stand up and recognise that, and then create a change, which is the next step.
How much can you learn from the end of a game? Obviously, they kicked the last 2 goals of the match. When it was right in the balance there. How much as a group can you learn from that sort of experience going into a finals campaign? Yeah,
I think that's probably the thing we take out of the game. Those areas we need to keep getting better at, but learn how we handle that situation a bit differently next time. I think probably just our composure with the ball going forward. We missed a few targets and in the end gave them a few opportunities, and they were good enough to take it, to their credit. So I suppose we got ourselves in a really good position, probably just a little bit more composure with the ball and think our way through a little bit more, and no doubt that's something we're going to focus on in the coming weeks.
Is that as simple as goal kicking as well? Obviously 11-14 and Swans kicked 13-5, but is it also that delivery into the forward line to give the forwards the best chance of hitting the scoreboard?
Oh, it's both of those things. I mean, obviously our goal kicking wasn't at the standard that it has been, and it cost us on Friday night. So it's really important we'll focus on that. We'll keep working on it as we always do. But in big games, particularly finals, you've got to be able to maximise your opportunities. So it's something that we'll heavily focus on.
Can you put those misses down to anything? Was it just where they were from, or the stage of the game, or how big it was? You put them down anything?
No, it's a hard one. I think it's not an area we've been poor in throughout the year. I think we've been quite solid, but it's just we had sort of one of those nights in front of goal really where it, we hit the post a couple of times. It just didn't happen. But having said that, we work really hard on it. We'll continue to do that. And our guys have a great record in terms of their goal kicking. So I think it's certainly not a constant theme.
Matt, what about Talia? He obviously rolled his ankle late in the game, played out, but how's he going early in the week now?
Yeah, look, he seems to pull up really well. Obviously it's really early in the week, so with a long break this week, we'll get a good chance to get some training in, and particularly towards the end of the week, he'll get going, and we'll see how he goes. But it's probably a bit too early at this stage to know too much.
It's hard to keep him down. He seems to have a bit of a knock every second week, but he always gets up. How is he so resilient?
Look, if you know Tales, his preparation is second to none. His habits are as professional as anyone at the footy club. So if anyone can get themselves up from particular injuries, it is him, and no doubt he's doing everything he can to get up.
Have you given him a bit of stick about being the new KO hooker, maybe being in the background of the new goal of the year?
Not yet, nah. But look, it's one of those ones. Like, I mean, it's obviously Buddy in full flight's pretty hard to stop. So Unfortunately for Tales, it was him chasing, but it could have been any of us on the night, really.
What about Eddie's 50-metre penalty late in the game? How'd you see that?
Oh, look, I didn't really see it at the time. I didn't get a good view of it, but look, it's one of those things. It's a really hard one. It's a split-second decision. There's inches in it. Like it's really hard for the umpires to make a call. So unfortunately, it didn't go our way, but. It's one of those things. We're going to get a few that do go away at times, and you just got to roll with them.
On your own game, David, it seems like in the last few weeks you've got more sort of contested footy and sort of laying a few more tackles and getting those a few more hard ball gets. Is that something you worked on to sort of improve and add that sort of part to your game?
Yeah, I've been working really hard in that area. Obviously, an important part of the game, and probably an area that I felt I wasn't contributing enough earlier on in the year, so something that I've sort of tried to work on really hard, and it's obviously getting to that time of the year where it's a really important aspect of the game, and the way we want to play, it's fundamental and crucial to that. So I suppose just a lot of hard work.
You mentioned the long break into the Eagles game. You're also going to have the long break into the finals. How does that sit with the playing group? Are you crying out for a bit of a spell, or would you like to keep playing every week?
Oh, from a player's perspective, we like to play. So obviously, after this week, we'll have the weekend off. So from that perspective, this week's really important to get up and going, have another really good hit out, and then from there, the coaching staff and the medical staff will sit down and work out what's the best path forward. But it's really important as a player to keep that continuity and keep playing, and particularly at this time of year, to maintain that fitness, that match hardness is crucial. So certainly from my perspective, I love that continuity and keep playing, and I think we've come off 2 6-day breaks, so the extra couple of days this week is quite beneficial for us, and then from there, we'll reassess after the weekend, I guess.
So you prefer no bye after the final last home and away?
Oh, look, to me it doesn't really faze me too much. I think it works. It works in some cases, it doesn't in others, and I think it's just a matter of I guess planning your training around that, and if you get that right, then it shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Can it work against it, the teams in the top 4, if you do win that first week? Obviously, last year we saw the Dogs come from 7th to win the premiership. Can it sort of work against having too much of a break?
Look, I don't think so. I think if you plan out your training accordingly, then you can make it work for you. I think it really is in I guess the plans that you make around the matches that you play.
Dave, there's an article just on AFL, mate. It was posted 20 odd minutes ago. Said the Dogs have been told they're out of the hunt for Jake Lever. Is that a positive for Adelaide?
Oh, look, I'm not really going to talk too much about contracts. I think the club's working behind the scenes to sort everything out, and to be honest, from a player's perspective, it's not something that we think about. We've got a massive final series coming up, so we're not really worried about that at the moment.
Does anyone get distracted by that at all? We've heard like Josh say sometimes, Jenko goes, it'd be good to be locked in by the finals. Don said a similar thing, but players don't really get too concerned about that sort of thing?
No, look, I can only speak from my experience, and it certainly doesn't worry me at all. And we've got more important things to worry about at the moment.
I suppose not Jake, Mitch, he was unreal on Friday, wasn't he? It shows how important he can be. Yeah,
look, he was fantastic, and just his speed and his energy was right up there, and I thought he got us going early on, particularly when we didn't start well, and I thought his form has been great since he came back into the side after having injury earlier in the year. Was
that a plan? He was almost the main man. He was the main man for a lot of the night. Tex played a bit of a decoy role and gave Mitch a bit more space.
Oh, look, it does change depending on who we're playing, and the beauty of our forward line is we've got so many different options, and they all bring different strengths. And obviously, sometimes it works out for Mitch, and sometimes it works out for Tex or Josh or Tom Lynch. So I guess in terms of kicking goals, I mean, the other guys do have really important roles, and but it certainly does depend on who we play and how they structure up. And Mitch was lucky enough to get on the end of a few through some really hard work, and it was his night on Friday night. But that will probably change going forward, I guess.
Tex pull up okay with his toe?
Yeah, look, talking to Tex, I think he's pulled up really well, and like Tales, he does everything right. So I don't think there's any concern there.
How does finishing on top of the ladder at the end of the season change your headset heading into finals? Does it almost make you hungrier, to make it to the end? Does that affect anything?
Oh, look, I don't think it affects too much. I think, obviously, you get yourself in a position where you can, I guess, earn home finals, and that's important, and that's something that you obviously strive for throughout the year. But when it comes down to it, you've got to be playing well at that time of the year, and that's really our focus at the moment, is making sure that we're bringing our best for the next 5 or 6 weeks, and we're pretty confident that if we can do that, that we'll be competitive in every game that we play in.
Does it put more pressure on you, being the best team after 23 rounds of footy?
No, I don't think so. We have really high expectations internally, and we don't really focus on the external expectations. It's more what we want as a group, and that's been like that all year, and nothing will change.